Ready? All right, my name's Dave Reed, for any of you that don't know me, and if you can't guess, I was in the Marine Corps.
Super funny.
Just I wear it all the time. 1965, I took the test and all that, but my mother wouldn't sign the release because I was 17. So my 18th birthday, I signed up, volunteered for the Marine Corps. Didn't know my draft number or anything at that time. I just, felt like I had to go. It's kind of in our family's blood. Went in August to Parris Island, South Carolina, the real boot camp. In case we have anybody that was out on this side. Yeah. And, So, I went through the basic training and all that. And learned how to eat when I could and sleep when I could and eat that trash food that they serve you. Went on to additional training after that. Infantry training, a regiment or whatever, and then they decided I should be a welder somehow, never having seen or touched a torch or whatever before that. But so they sent me to welding school all the time. I had already had my volunteering waiting for orders to go to Vietnam, and I finished the welding school, and still the orders weren't there, so they decided I should go to heavy equipment training, heavy equipment operator training. So I was about 3/4 of the way through that, and here came my orders. So I ended up in a group in April '66. I was in Vietnam. And the group's called Shore Party, for those of you that have never heard of it. They wear little red patches, which became good targets for the VC to shoot at. And a lot of the time they were out there calling in the helicopters out there under fire. That's what they did. They went out with the helicopters, and they loaded bodies and parts and all that into the helicopters, and actually worked at the hospitals all the time to unload and put pieces together and all that. So it wasn't glamorous, to say the least. But I was on the welding side, and I ended up, like I said, actually it was diesel mechanic school, after welders. But when I got to Vietnam, I was with the welding, and they also decided I could do heavy equipment, rubber tire crane, and a bulldozer and stuff like that. So besides being occasionally in the welding shop, I was out with the grunts, and I got called all over, including the Korean Marines, and spent 5 weeks with them. But I'd go out and unload the trucks and use the dozer to help them set up the wire around the perimeter and all that. And then I was with them on maneuvers for 2 or 3 weeks till I got another order to go somewhere else. So, people say you're a welder, and they say, well, you didn't see any action. Well, trust me, I saw enough of it. I had a couple interesting times, to say the least. I was out with a rubber tire crane going down the road in between the rice paddies, and the round ricocheted off the roll bar. And if you can imagine, the rice paddy is huge, and you're out there on the road all by yourself, and somebody's shooting at you. It's like, so you push the pedal down on that old diesel thing, and it might get up to 20 miles an hour or something, but I got the heck out of there. And one of the funniest times I was out there was actually the same road, almost the same spot, and we rotated. We had a month where we had to drive the colonel around. And the colonel wasn't real good on the language you use over the radio. So instead of saying this is a 6 and the 5 an hour, be back in 5.5 hour or whatever, he says, this is the colonel, and the sergeant major and I'll be back in the base. We're out here in the rice paddies or something.
Announced it.
Yeah. So I look in the rear view mirror. Sergeant major's getting his flak jacket on, getting his helmet on, and shrinking. And again, I kind of floored it and got out of there. Fortunately, nothing happened. But the worst time I had, probably, one of the worst weddings, is they used me as a tunnel rat. And I wasn't really the smallest, but as a private, you become you. And I actually went down twice in those dark tunnels. You can't use a light, and you got a knife in your teeth, and you're working your way along until you bump into something, and then basically you kill something before it kills you. And then maybe you can turn the light on and then try to back up. So I'm claustrophobic. It was not fun there. And I have a picture at home of a Jeep I was sitting in. You know how they do the back with seats on the sides? I was sitting shotgun, and they had we were jumped out on the road, popping up through the underground stuff, and there's a bullet holes in the shotgun side. And what's especially interesting to me is I had excellent reflexes, and they're still pretty good. And I should have been out of that vehicle on the first round, and I froze. And if I'd have gone to get out, I'd been stitched. Yeah, so I kept that picture, you know. So I figure I'm down to 3 lives if I'm a cat. But you don't want to hear all the gory stories. So I did my Marine Corps as a 13-month tour, and then I extended again in Vietnam. They had a program where they're trying to keep experienced people in country. So if you extend in country for 6 months, not your time in service, you had at least 30 days leave in the States to allow time for you to go to Okinawa and get some of your wildness out, get your uniforms updated and all that, and then fly to the States. So you end up with at least 30, I think it was 44 days or something I was gone. So it was a 6-month extension. It took me up till December. And I volunteered for a 3rd term, a tour. And the colonel turned me down. And he said, you've done enough. He says, read the papers, you'll understand. So it was about 10, 12 days after I left, they moved up towards the DMZ, and they lost half of them in the first week. So that was my next to last life that I lost, or didn't lose. So I came back to Camp Lejeune, tank battalion, and was an E5 by that point after 2 years. And I spent my time with with the tank battalion straightening out the fenders. That's all that you can do. That's everything else you can't fix on a tank with a welder. And we had searchlights and generators, portable generators, and all that kind of stuff. So I got to have 2 generals inspections. And one of my buddies taught me this trick. Of course, everything's painted Marine Corps green, all right? So of course you cleaned it and all that, but it still looks kind of dull. So you actually get a little bit of diesel on a rag, and you wipe down everything, and it shines. So they came, and the general said, outstanding, Sergeant. As if you only knew. Tomorrow it's going to be the dirtiest ones in the lot, because it's got diesel all over it. Yeah, I lucked out. As a sergeant, you tend to get benefits from the sergeant that issues the arms and the supplies and stuff like that. So I got a rifle that some kid from Pennsylvania took back to his dad's gun shop, and had the stock redone and re-blued the rifle, and then he had just turned it in. I mean, it's brand new, even better than brand new. So every inspection, I just snapped that up there, and I never had it taken out on my arms. Yeah. So I played along and acted like I was going to re-enlist, because if you didn't, they put you on all sorts of crap duties. And up to the last day, they thought I was going to re-enlist. So I pull in with my Mustang Fastback and a trailer hitched to it, and my wife in the car and our pets and all that. And they held Staff Sergeant like this. And I said, well, where are my orders to? And they said, Paris Island. I said, I'll see you. I'm not going back. Yeah, they wanted me to be a drill instructor, and I decided that wasn't in my understanding. So that's short and sweet. That's kind of where I've been. So I did 4 years active, and then I got a call from the reserve unit right after I got back, and they had me come in because a E6 had caught up to me. So my DD 214 says I was a Sergeant E5, but Staff Sergeant E6.
Thank you, Dave.